Okay, all right. Let's go back to the video a minute.
No matter what culture you're in, no matter what it is, if it's not part of your, like, I know that there's a culture where men have multiple wives. I can't remember which one it is.
Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern, yeah. But I just think if you're in a relationship, be loyal. If you don't want to be in a relationship, don't be in a relationship. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? If you want to go out and have your fun, go and have your fun. But don't be having someone else in the back you're committed to, and they're thinking, and they're being 100% loyal to you, and you're out here being a trash. Like,
all right,
absolutely.
Real quick. So to me,
disrespecting.
Okay, so to me, just so I make sure I understand everyone's stances here. So you understand that you don't agree with it. You don't agree with it at all. You're saying that you understand that men are going to do it if they have money.
Even men with money, even men with money have respect. It depends which man
are the ones. Because men with money are the ones, like I said, men with money are usually the ones that are out of the home because they're doing their own thing. They're mostly also amongst men.
Interesting.
And then when men are all men, nobody wants a sausage fest. There's girls to entertain. Do you know what I mean? And it just happens like that sometimes, I think. But not every man.
So would you accept that from a higher status guy? You?
This is the thing. I am not looking for that type of man. I'm looking for a different type of man.
Low status.
I like
guys that you say I don't want to break hearts of.
No, it's the person.
And that's where Myron's note-taking really comes into play, because he's referring back to something that she said earlier about not wanting to break hearts or something. And you know, the meticulousness of the way that he does this is very good, because he will connect the dots in terms of what maybe they said before, and maybe they start to contradict themselves, and that's really interesting. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, all of the stuff with Divana, it got incredibly, I mean, drama-y, and it felt like she was contradicting herself, because on the one hand she was saying money's not important to her, she's not looking for a stereotypical high-value man, but then on the other hand she was kind of describing what you would regard as being the ultimate high-value man, and it's kind of like, well, okay, but if you want those things, do you have to compromise a bit? That's, I think, where Myron was coming from. We'll have a little look anyway.
That I will end up with will be a very quiet person.
Oh,
that's it.
Interesting.
Composed.
Because it's like she's almost setting it up where it's like, yeah, the person I will end up with, which is like she's already presetting, like, I need to get my fun now before I go with the boring guy.
No, it's not that. I actually like quiet people. This is the thing.
So why aren't you with him now?
Because
what's stopping you from being with him now?
Because you don't rush these things. That's the thing.
You do not like quiet people.
No, I actually
met your friend group. They're not.
No,
quiet.
Listen. This is the thing. My friend group is not my man, is it? If I wanted to date my friends, I'll be with them.
Are you looking for?
I think
you want someone who grounds you.
I want the opposite of me, because I'm quite talkative. I want somebody that's quiet. That's not bothered by me, like being able to just have a light on me all the time.
Are you looking for somebody who's going to be submissive to you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just looking for somebody that's so comfortable that he doesn't even need to talk.
To be honest, opposites do work really well together.
So it sounds like you're doing all the talking. He's just sitting there taking your.
No, I just want. I'll explain to you what I mean. Okay, the type of man that I like is the type of man that can walk down the street and every single man will look at him and be like, "Yeah, that's the guy." He doesn't have to talk. That's the type of man that I like.
But he's also incredibly submissive in a relationship.
No, that doesn't mean submissive in an. That means that you're quiet enough. Even me, if every guy you're walking down the street don't even need to talk and everybody can recognize your power, how am I, as a woman, not going to recognize? And that's what I mean. I want a man that is able, with just his presence and his energy, to not even have to talk, just assert his masculinity just by being there. There's guys that can do that.
Okay, so you do understand. You made a very interesting point. Do all of you agree with? You want a guy that other men respect like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So they all agree with that.
You guys understand that the metric that men use to respect each other is far different than what you guys use to respect each other, correct?
Yeah.
Because women respect each other based on beauty, right?
Oh, and status and all of this.
No, you guys respect each other on beauty. You guys don't give a fuck about status. Like, for example, if Oprah Winfrey walked into a room with a bunch of Instagram models, no one gives a they might be like, oh, cool, Oprah Winfrey's in here. But at the end of the day, the most attractive woman understands that I'm the most attractive and she has the most status in that room, because we don't, like, from a sexual market value standpoint, right? So, like, you mentioned that you want a guy that, like, he could walk into a room and other men respect him, right? Well, men respect competence and meritocracy. We don't respect the same things that you guys do.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to your ability to earn money.
Yeah.
So if you want a guy that could command the respect of other men, that means he has to be extremely accomplished and he's probably a high earner, which means he's going to come with other women too.
Okay, can I tell you something? So, for example, me, a lot of the men that I do know, they are extremely respected, especially in the community, and not because they're rich, because they're
Then
real
why aren't
men.
you with them?
What did I
question,
just say?
good question.
Okay, what did I say about my relationship
takes time.
status? Did I tell you I was single? Did I tell you I was dating on? I left
Yeah.
it ambiguous for a reason.
Denelva, you don't like him enough to just say
Listen,
no. I'm
you're
taken.
talking,
Don't like
you're
Yeah.
talking smoke without actually even asking me the right questions. Because if you ask me the right questions, you would know the answer to
But
all
why
of
would
this.
you, if you really
So-
like him, why would you want to leave it ambiguous?
Listen.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, so as it's over 9K says, she wants a high value man. She wants a high value yes man, pretty much, which I think that's kind of what it sounded like to me. And I think that Myron was then equating it with like, well, because men admire competency in other men, a marker of that, as we've said, is financial. So therefore, typically, the high value man might be a guy who's rich. Now, that there are other things. Because then I think she starts to link it more to physicality, right? So you could be another way to be respected is your physicality, right? So you could be somebody who looks unfuckwithable, right? So he gets that respect because he's walking down the street and he looks very physically capable and all the rest of it. So yes, that might be another element of it. And I think the important lesson to this, I mean, who knows what she wanted really, because it was kind of going around in circles. But I mean, I think an important lesson to take from this is that we will often talk about female hypergamy, which is the female desire to date either on the same level or ideally above, right? She's looking for a guy who is, hopefully above her in some form. But the nuance here, and this is the bit that people always miss, is that there are different ways in which hypergamy can be measured, okay? So, yes, money is one of them. Right? Yes, good looks is one of them. Yes, being super muscular is another one, right? But she might be with, and we see an example of this later, okay? And this is what we're kind of leading up to here. It might be that he's super high value in the sense that he's got a lot of money and he's got assets, okay? However, then after a period of time, the woman might think, do you know what? Kind of getting a bit bored with this now. I've kind of been to these yacht parties already. I've kind of drunk this champagne several times before. I've been to these restaurants. It's all a bit like dull. Do you know what? Actually, I don't want that kind of guy anymore. I want the guy who's like super like street tough. He's a bit of a bad boy. The money thing isn't as important to me anymore. Actually, I want a different kind of high value man. Okay. And this is the problem that guys have, because most of us are not going to be ticking off all of the boxes, right? We might be ticking off some of them. You might be watching this and you're very rich, or you might be watching this and you're good looking or whatever, but maybe you lack social skills, or maybe you're good looking but you don't have money, or maybe you are rich but you're not very good looking, or you're not very tall or whatever, right? Like most of us, just by definition, it's very rare to find a guy who's ticking off all of the boxes, okay? And that's the problem, because after she's been with you, she appreciates you for a certain thing for a period of time. But the issue is what happens when she gets a bit bored with that and she's thinking, but actually, hang on a minute, that maybe what that guy over there's got, maybe that's better. Maybe the money isn't so important to me. Maybe the lifestyle isn't so important to me. Now, you might say, oh, that's capping. They're always going to care about the money and stuff. But it really isn't, because I know marriages that are broken up because the woman's like, do you know what? The money isn't important to me anymore. I don't give a damn about that. I don't give a damn about this fancy lifestyle. I want something else. And what might have been missing was that kind of raw animalistic passion that's been absent, okay? So hypergamy is a bitch, right? And it's very hard to win. But I think one of the things that's illustrated in this conversation is the sort of complexity and the sometimes conflicting nature of what it is that women are looking for, okay?